It is the state's only two-year technical school and touts a better than 96% placement rate upon graduation. For many of its students, it's free. Our speaker today is Dr. Zoann Parker, who is Vice President of Academic Affairs. Dr. Parker earned undergraduate degrees at Cobleskill Ag and Technical Institute and at Cornell. She earned her master's degree and her doctorate at Penn State, and most of her professional career has been in agriculture or agricultural education. She has also served as Undersecretary of Agriculture under Governor Tom Ridge's administration. Dr. Parker is going to bring us up to date on one of the top two-year technical colleges in the country, and the school whose mission and priorities would make Representative Stevens very proud. Dr. Parker, welcome.
Thank you, Al. It is such an honor and a pleasure to be here once again speaking and working with Rotary. I have a long history with Rotary. I was just telling our table earlier, the very first professional speaking club that I got to work with when I started my first job with Penn State University in the College of Agriculture was at a Rotary club. And they gave me a very heavy gold-plated, gold-colored ruler. I have taken that ruler with me up and down I-95 as I progressed through all my different colleges and careers, because it is the perfect way to work all the budgets so I can always see the line items. And it always has the four components of Rotary so that you can always make sure that you're being truthful, honorable, ethical, etc. And as I've been working with budgets, I've always said, man, this is why they gave me this. So again, thank you so much for welcoming me back into Rotary. I had two different presentations prepared for today, just in case Al didn't like the first one. And because of his introduction and what he was just talking about, he did my first one, so we'll have to go to the second one. It is an honor to work at Thaddeus Stevens College. I have worked for 20 years to get into this school. I have sent students there ever since I started my collegiate career, because I went to a school, Cobleskill Ag and Tech, that was in New York, upstate New York, that was very similar to Thaddeus Stevens. So today I'm going to take you through a whirlwind, and I'm not sure this is going to reach all the way. If it doesn't, I will tap dance up here and I'll tell you what the slides are going to look like. But I'm going to take you through a whirlwind history of Thaddeus Stevens and why he wanted this school and why this school is so relevant today in 2018. So let's see if I can first make the, oh goody. Now I know you are not going to be able to read the slides, so I will do what I hate every speaker that does this. I'll apologize right up front. So, but the other good news is I know I may embellish because don't read the slides. This is Thaddeus Stevens. Now he was born into abject poverty, and he and his brother were both deformed and both had club foots. And back in the 1700s, that was a sign of sin. And so he was absolutely discriminated against from the moment he was born. Now, as they always say, behind every great man is a phenomenally great woman. That was his mother. She realized that if she could get her sons into education, she could get them out of the abject poverty that they had been born into and out of the discrimination that they were going to face for the rest of their lives. So she worked 3 different jobs. She was doing laundry, she was a housemaid, etc., doing whatever she could to put money toward their schooling. And again, I know you're not going to be able to read all these lovely little points, but hopefully as they're taping this, you can go back through. He was able to go through and go to college and become a phenomenal lawyer. And because while he was in law school, he was still discriminated against, because as we all know, Ivy League and upper echelon colleges, there are the us's and the thems. I went to an Ivy League. Cornell was just the same way, and I can say that down here in Pennsylvania. So, while he was in college, because he didn't come from an affluent family, he felt the discrimination. He felt the roadblocks that were being put up against him personally, and he said, I'm going to fix that. And he did. As he became a very successful lawyer, he became very wealthy. And he believed that wealth was to be given back. So he started working on providing for those that did not have. Beautiful, beautiful thought. Again, thank you for the quote that you started with. That was how I was going to be starting out my talk. He wanted everyone to be fed at the same table. And that is what he built his premise on with his practice. And then as he moved into the legislature, he realized he could make much more of a difference in the legislature than he could make in his practice in Lancaster. So he moved into the legislature, and his main goal there was to ensure everyone had the opportunity for education. This was his dream. He wanted a school for the orphans, the poor, the young men of the state of Pennsylvania, and yes, back then only men could go to college, the state of Pennsylvania, that everyone would be treated equally and have an opportunity in the trades. Well, he put the money in his will, and he made sure that the Mellor building was built, and it opened in 1905, and at this point, I'm going to go off the slides because I can't read them either. And he determined that he would be able to start with the basic of the trades, and back in the day, it was machining, it was masonry, it was foundry work, it was the things that made people employable, and it was education in English and in math and in the areas of accounting, so that you would not be taken over or taken advantage of, and that you would be able to run your own businesses and be tremendously successful. That was his legacy. He also felt that everyone had the right to school. So as a legislator, he developed and ran and got passed the Public Schools Initiative. Without Thaddeus Stevens, we would all be paying to send our children from K through 12. But he decided, and he got everyone to see, and he fought, and he fought and fought. He got everyone to see the value in education. Way back before the value of education was seen as a gift, as a right. Back in the day, as you well know, only the wealthy could afford to send their families, their children, to a high school, and heaven forbid, on to a college. He felt that was very wrong, and because of him, and because what he has done in the state of Pennsylvania, it literally went through the nation. So he is always touted as the father of public education. What we did at what the college did, Thaddeus Stevens College has done, is they built on that, and they said everyone should be allowed to have a college education, regardless of their ability to pay. So Stevens, in his infinite wisdom, put aside dollars to say we will have a Stevens grant. And therefore, students that cannot afford room, board, and tools and the education will be given that opportunity if they are eligible to come to the college, i.e. if they can get into the entrance exam, which is basically at the time, could you read and write? Today, we carry on the Stevens grant. 50% of our students are eligible to come to our college, free room and board, all tools for their trade, and all of their, basically all of their education. Now, in reality, we take Pell Grant from the state to help subsidize that. So the student does not pay, but they are getting a subsidy from the federal Pell Grant. As far as I know, we're the only college able to do that. And we have students that come to us that would never have the opportunity. They don't have a home. We're open 365. This year we had 31 students that stayed straight through Christmas holiday because they had nowhere to go. So we provided them not only Christmas meal, not only the church services, not only transportation to go to the movies and have a holiday, but we also had a Santa Claus show up and provide each one of them personal gifts, coats, boots, some fun stuff, so that they knew that they were part of the Stevens family. The beautiful thing also about our college is, as you heard, we have a 96% full-time placement rate. In our college, if we have a program, it is designed because industry has told us, as Thaddeus Stevens wanted, that we need to have this education because it will provide living wages for the graduates. So our 23 programs are designed and developed by industry. Therefore, industry comes back and hires our students. And every new program that we bring in, and our newest program is called CSET, Computer Software Engineering Technology. It was brought to us by a group of developers who said there's nobody out there doing this. Again, we don't compete, we create. So if another college, Penn State, Del Val, Shippensburg, Elizabethtown, Hack, if they already have programs that are running and are super strong in an area, we don't touch them. We're not about competing. We are all about complementing, and our mantra is employment. Many, many, many other schools, the mantra is more education. Community colleges are designed to give an associate's degree and to get the student a skill set so that they may go on for their bachelor's. Our mantra is that we are going to turn you into a perfect asset for employability at the end of 2 years. And with our 96% employment rate every year for every program, we are succeeding. Again, we're just going to flip this so we can get to some pictures, because there's some really fun pictures. Every college, every institution has to have a pipeline of students. Thaddeus Stevens worked with the indigent and the poor. Where we sit in the city of Lancaster, we sit in the center of the school district of Lancaster, which is the poorest school district for K through 12. And also one of the largest districts for K through 12. We have adopted the students in the school district of Lancaster by adopting their kindergarten class and holding on to those students until they are graduates. So what we do, and I'm very proud to say that I do have a faculty member today that is a part of this program who is one of your guests. Also means I can't tell any stories about the college. Anyway, our kindergarten program, we literally adopt the students. We go into the classrooms and we will present to them what a plumber is, what a carpenter is, what CAD is, what electrical engineering is, what computer programming is at 5. And when we're done, the students know what an architect is. They tell us. They know what an auto mechanic does. They tell us. Then we bring them on campus. And this is before Minions were really, really, big. They were never Minions. Now they're all Minions because we always put them in yellow t-shirts, and they always have a hard hat, and they always have safety glasses because we put them directly into the labs. Learn by doing. Touch, feel, smell, handle. Be taught by those you admire. Again, all things that Thaddeus Stevens wanted to see done, we are still doing today, and we're doing it very successfully with our Minions. We have our faculty members, we have our students actually presenting and teaching to the students. We bring them literally into the laboratory areas, then we feed them, and then we have them come out and actually do parts of the labs with the students. Then we graduate them. I'm hoping that somewhere around here I had graduation pictures. Okay. Well, we actually bring all of the kindergarten students back on campus with their families. This may be the only time some of these students ever graduate. That kills us. We want every single kindergarten student to come through all of our programs, to graduate, because if they graduate from high school, they have a full ride, absolute immediate admittance into our college. We are only in our 8th year in this program, so we don't know yet how many of our kindergartners are going to come back and to work with us. But the other reason that we do this is for the word hope. We are instilling hope in these families and in these students. Part of the problem is they're very transient. We want them to know at age 5. And again, when we touch them in 5th grade, and we touch them again in 8th grade, and we touch them again in 9, 10, 11, and 12, hope is there that you will be able to get a livable career, not just a job, a career through Thaddeus Stevens. And all you have to do is keep coming to our events, and we have many, many, many of them. And when we bring them into graduation, every single one of those kindergartners' families are there cheering them on. Every one of those kindergartners wears their keys of success with pride, and actually when we go back in and we see them in 3rd and 5th grade, Some of them still have the keys with them because it is the only time that they've been told you will be a success. Again, we know that is Thaddeus Stevens' mantra of what he was looking to do. We can only take students from the state of Pennsylvania. That is another difference between us and every other college in this state, and probably every other state. It gives us the advantage of showing the state how we are feeding back into the economy. There is nothing new in under the sun. We are back to the days of apprenticeships, learning with your hands, having an actual skill set. Not to say that what we have learned in our 4-year, 6-year, 8-year educations weren't skills, but how many of us this morning, if our pipes were frozen, could have fixed them? Raise your hand. And very good. Remember this, that's the call if your plumber doesn't come. When your car wouldn't start, and today with everything being computerized, how many of us would have known what fuse blew or what to do with that engine? Because the cars aren't like they used to be, where you could just stick a heater in the dipstick and warm up the oil. These are the things that we are training our students, along with reading, writing, and arithmetic, and along with civics, and along with making them outstanding civic human beings for their community. We're giving them a skill that no matter where they go, they will always have that at least $47,000 and higher education. What is our biggest problem at our campus? The fact that we've outgrown our campus. We could double in size this coming fall if I had the room. I can't feed them and I can't house them. I don't have the space. I was brought there a year ago to double their enrollment. I was so excited to finally get back on this campus and to finally be a real part of Stevens College. Been trying for a very long time, but nobody ever leaves. So I told them, of course I can double your enrollment. Are you kidding me? And then I said, oh my golly, yeah, I can double your enrollment. That's not the problem. 50% of our students live on campus. And as you heard, of those 50%, probably a good 7 to 8% never leave while they're there for the whole 2 years because they have nowhere to go. They are truly homeless. Or they have no transportation and they're actually working and they have to use our public transportation. Ergo, where are we going to put all these new students? So we expanded into a very large warehouse. And we put some of our programming in this beautiful, fantastic warehouse. And we have doubled our welding program. You know, everybody needs welding, and I know York has got an excellent welding program here as well. But in case they want to just go a little bit further from home and just come downtown, we have a phenomenal welding program, and we're tied very tightly with high steel. Then we said, okay, we've outgrown it. Literally outgrew it in 1 semester. With our machining and our welding program, we put masonry up there. We were out of room, out of space. I doubled the program, and okay, now what? So we had put plans in with the state to build a second campus. And now we have at least the steel up in our second campus, and we will again be moving programming around so that we can expand more of our area to bring in more students in the trades. But folks, I still have the problem. Where am I going to feed them? Where am I going to house them? We are landlocked. So as we were looking at Stephen's idea of what are we going to do to help have more students have our skills, more students be in the trades, we said, okay, we're just going to have to start, this is our actual campus, we're going to have to start building up. So we have a little challenge now to explain to this very historic city of Lancaster why 3 stories in a city that only allows for 2 is a great idea. Great idea. That's where we are headed with that. So this is the idea is that we have a 1970s dining hall. We can feed 150. You heard we have almost 1,200 students on campus right now. We put in cafes. I made a deal with Subway. I've got students eating all over the city, yada, yada, yada. Best news about all of this is our time has come. We are back in vogue. There is nothing wrong with getting that 4-year degree, getting that master's degree, getting that doctorate degree after you've gotten a skill. After you have a trade, after you can actually do something. Because the time is swung around now where we need to have doers. And don't ever think that anyone in the trades isn't as intelligent as an accountant, as a lawyer, as a doctor. They're all trades. Our students go through calculus, our students go through trigonometry, our students go through basic physics, also extremely heavy physics. We have an engineering program that Penn State can't wait to get our students because they are so highly educated and trained. But for some reason, people think that plumbers, who only come out at -7 degrees or -47 degrees, when the water is spraying around, they don't have to know physics. Oh yes, they do. In our water treatment and our water environmental technical program, they have to know all these amazing formulas because guess what? Water does not run uphill. They make it run uphill, but water does not run uphill. So we do an awful lot of education in the trades that people have forgotten about. It is an honorable and very lucrative way to go through your career. I know that we have all heard about half that the new education is that the master's is the new bachelor's, the bachelor's is the new high school degree. I can tell you that has completely shifted, and the reason that it has shifted is money. We in higher education are expensive. And if you are putting more than one child through an education program getting a bachelor's degree, you are going to be in severe, or someone is going to be in severe debt. Our students come out with an average of $7,000 debt if they're paid their way through college. The average debt for a student going through a state college getting a regular bachelor's degree is somewhere around $24,000. You go outside of the state system and you are looking at close to over $100,000 in debt for one student. What we are finding is we get an awful lot of child number 2 and child number 3. And then we get child number 1 after they've graduated because they can't get a job or a job that is paying well enough to pay off the student loans. Our time has come. We know that our skill sets are what are needed to drive the economy. And it's such a pleasure to be able and to finally be able to come out and say, you know what, I lay block, I can weld, at least I used to weld, I went to a technical school, I know how to drive a tractor. My whole background was always in continuing education and education, and I don't have to be ashamed of the fact that I came up through 2-year school, then to Ivy League, then to Penn State, and yada, yada, yada. I stand here and say I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the fact that I've been given a skill. Thaddeus Stevens stood in front of the legislature for hours and hours and hours, filibustering so that people like me could go to school. I was a Pell Grant student. I would have been a Stevens grant student. And I speak to every one of our students telling them what a gift you are being given. Getting into Stevens is as hard as getting into any Ivy League school. We take the best of the best from every walk, which means that we do have students that don't have the SAT score that some other student may have, but they went through a VOTEC and they have a skill set to start with. We have students who are basically geniuses already and are getting patents today. Many of the patents that our students have are now being used in the industry that they were hired in. So when you walk on our campus, you don't know that student, with that baseball cap on, you don't know their background, you don't know where they came, because they all eat at the same table. I was told that I needed to shorten up a little bit so that you could ask questions. I have a whole lot more to talk about, but I get bored hearing my own voice. So we're going to say, okay, that's my student body. That's what we look like. And I'm going to end with that picture, and I'm going to open it up and ask if there are questions. If it gets really quiet, I get really nervous, and I'll just pick up where I left off. Yes, sir.
Yes, your background is in agriculture. Is there an ag component at Stevens?
Thank you. There was not until right now. And yes, we are bringing in an agricultural technician program. We also just partnered with Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture in their Diesel Ag Mechanics Apprenticeship Program. We and RAC, Reading Area Community College, will be offering the theory, and then all of the ag mechanics machinery businesses are offering up, like Case, New Holland, and C.B. Hoover, their actual labs for our students to go and work on the tractors and the combine. In our ag technician program, we are literally working to start teaching students how to do Act 38 manure management plans, and how to work with conservation districts, land preservation districts, because we know that the students are not getting the ag background that they need in a short-term program to be employable. So yes, I'm bringing that as well. And I was shocked that Thaddeus Stevens would even look at that. Yes, sir.
My godson is a graduate of Thaddeus, and I can endorse everything you've said. That's a wonderful institution. Are there any notable, iconic graduates of Thaddeus Stevens that we would recognize? Just curious.
Yes. I can't name a single one, but I can assure you the next time I do this, I will have. In my car is a gentleman who just became CEO of Fry Lutz Plumbing. He graduated from our program. So we have a lot of CEOs in the state of Pennsylvania. We have legislators that have graduated from our college. But I have failed miserably. There's my first F. After I get 3 of them, I just give up. But thank you I will find that out, because I do know that we do have them. Eek. Yes, sir.
With so many students having financial need, what are the financial resources that you draw on to serve them?
We draw on the federal Pell Grants. We draw on a tremendous supportive alumni foundation. That is something that we have seen at this college that I haven't seen as deeply in other colleges. Major universities have this, but other colleges do not. Our alum pony up. They give a lot of money back scholarship-wise because they realize what Stevens did for them. We also rely on grants, and we are working more. We have a wonderful NSF grant, Science Foundation grant. But we do work a lot with the one-on-one scholarship program for alumni and through the government for the Pell. Yes?
You talked about the kindergarten program and imparting vision on young kids. And then it sounds like the next touch, as you called it, is not until 5th grade. And then it picks up through middle school and high school. But in terms of sustaining a vision of what a young person can consider possible for themselves, is there relationship development after kindergarten before 5th grade?
Yes, we have programs every single year, and we also do summer camps, which we provide for all of the children from kindergarten all the way up through to 9th grade. So we touch them at every level of their academic years. We also do community events. Like we have a huge Easter egg hunt that we do on campus, because we are trying to get the students onto our campus every semester as often as we can to let them know that this is their campus. This is where they belong. We are in their classrooms. Katie does a wonderful program where we go out to the schools and we're actually working in the classrooms doing an environmental program. We build a guppy bowl, which is, it's literally teaching them the wet environment so that they can actually have an aquarium with a recycled bowl and grass, etc. And we do that as a science project within a classroom. So we are actually touching these students every year in different areas. We host, because the legislature has also just figured out that they needed to have a career and college act. So now they have Act 39 or 339 actually, where every student must be on a career exploration. So that's why we get them at 1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade. What we realized though is that we also needed to hit them at 8th grade when the school system is forcing them to choose. But we touch them every year, and we touch them regardless of what school they have moved to, as long as they are staying in the school district of Lancaster. But you're absolutely right. We need to be on top and working with those students and those students' parents, because it is still the parents that are making all of the decisions. And it is still a very big uphill battle for students who have parents never graduated from high school, so these students are never going to go to college. Their goal, get them through junior high. Our goal, absolutely, get them through high school with the grade and the technical ability to come back. And we have a 3-year program where we can bring these students in where they're pre-major. They come to us for an entire year for math, English, and career exploration before we will put them in a major. And we take 100 students like that every year. And then those students are guaranteed a slot in their major area. So we're trying to get them from 5 and hold on to them until they are 17 or 18 and then hold on to them until we place them in a job. All the way in the back, yes.
What, if anything, have you done to replicate this program throughout the state?
Bite your tongue hard. At this point, we are not replicating our program through the state. We are going through the state and we are recruiting students to come to us. There will be a time when we are given the dollars and the support from the Department of Education and the legislature to duplicate exactly what we do. Now, our partner on the western part of the state, Penn College, who is a part of Penn State University, they do a phenomenal job, but they do it a little differently than we do. But we have articulations with them that they will take our students with associate degrees to continue on with their bachelor's degrees, and they also have certificate and associate degrees at Penn College. We have been asked to replicate what we are doing throughout the state. In a heartbeat, if somebody would write a check. We cannot do it with what we have without hurting our students. And our students will always come first. But that's brought up a lot. There was somebody on this side that, yes?
Sure.
I'm sorry.
Same line. In other words, how much percent of your student body is from Lancaster? 99?
No. That's the beautiful thing. Unfortunately, no, about 40% is from Lancaster. And we have a decent percentage from York, a decent percentage from Chester, a high percentage from Philadelphia. We are really marketing for Berks County and higher right now. We've gone back into the coal region. We definitely are hitting Schuylkill, Lehigh, working in Northampton, and going west. The problem is a lot of the students have never traveled. Pennsylvania doesn't travel. I'm not a native of Pennsylvania. I was shocked to find out that people don't leave the confines of the state. And because they never left, they don't want their children to leave. And then some never leave their county. And I said, well, there's 67 counties, after 67 weeks or even 6 years, you ought to at least go a little bit outside of the state. So it has been kind of a challenge to get some students to come east or some students to come south, but we are really working hard on bringing in the entire state. Knowing that we do have those concerns, we are doing something called dual enrollment, which is we go into the high schools or into the VOTEC and the CTCs, and we bring some of our programming into their high schools so that they can see exactly what we have to offer, and we give them college credit for that, just as every other university college is doing with gen eds. So in some schools, you can literally get enough college credit that you got an associate's degree by the time you are graduating high school. We do not allow you to have that kind of education that you would be able to come to us saying, okay, I've totally got everything but your very last capstone project. Because we are so technical and we want you to have the skill set that we can put our name on. We do not allow you to come in from the CTC saying, I've got all my carpentry skills. No, you may have some carpentry skills. We guarantee you don't have all of them. But when it comes to the gen eds, math, English, science, social sciences, the liberal arts, those we're doing dual enrollment to show the students in the other counties outside of the capital region and the northern region what they are missing by not coming to Stevens. We also have another problem I wasn't going to talk about, but you open the door, so we might as well put the dirty laundry out there. Very heavily male. Ladies, what is wrong with the thought process of that? High wages. And if you are female and you've got a skill, it's a terrible, terrible thing to say, but it's your time because they need women in the industry. You will be hired before the male because you are female and because you have a tremendous education skill set behind you. Our females are highly, highly recruited. They ask us, what do you have in the electrical program? What do you have in the wet program? What do you have in the masonry program? And we have 1 and 2s. Why do I only have 1 and 2s? I tried to show everybody, I'm 5'1". Used to weigh nothing, now I weigh a whole lot. I can lay a cement block with the best of them up to here. I have no more strength to go any higher. That skill set would still get me hired. So we're out now desperately trying to get more diversity from the female side of things because Basically, the trades are run by computers. Basically, the trades are incredibly clean. You no longer are in a foundry where you are shoveling coal. When you are creating new knees, new elbows, joints for the medical industry, and you're doing it simply through a CNC and a computer, you're computer programming. And you're going in every day in scrubs. You're going in a perfectly equalized environment. It is not the 1950s trade world. So we're out there and we're teaching this to the parents because the students, they got it. They've seen the videos. They've been on the tours. They get it. But we're working very hard in all the other regions in the areas to bring students to Stevens, to bring Hispanics, and to bring females. Because those, we just don't have that population yet. Yes, sir.
Every contractor and manufacturer I've spoken with about technical training first mentions Thaddeus Stevens, so congratulations.
Thank you.
It's a great program. What would it take to get you as involved at the York City Schools as you are at the Lancaster City Schools?
We are there right now, and I'm assuming you mean my recruiters to be into the schools, recruiting to the students and having this, we now start signing days, and we are very much working with the school counselors so that we are in your like Red Line High School, and I had them all listed, and then I can't because I panicked when I came in, I left it in the car seat. We are into your high schools. This is the first year that we are specifically selecting the schools. We used to bring them down to our campus. Now I have my recruiters literally doing Thaddeus Stevens Day at the high schools. And then students that are accepted at our school, we are doing, like they do with all the athletes, we do signing days. And we come in, and for every student that has actually been part of our programming, we bring them in, the sweatshirts, and we do a big signing through the contract. All we need to do is have the invitation. And sometimes I don't get the invitation. I'm just telling them, show up. And when they have a problem, call me. But we are working very hard to be in every high school up here in York. So if you know that there's an area that we are deficient in, I will be here, I will write it down, and I will make the appointment myself with our recruiters. Yes, sir.
So many of us in the room work with at-risk youth in the city.
Yep.
And we know the story well, that there's no home, there's no dad, there's no family structure. And I know many of those. And one of my little guys that I mentor would like to go here. He's had a bump in with the law.
Okay.
So are there any knockout factors that would say your little guy that you mentor could not go, even though his heart's desire is to go to your organization?
Felony?
Not that?
Nope, then no problem.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Is it common to have employers that sponsor students?
We had a program, yes. We have a program, and it was called Future Machinists and the Machine Shops, because everybody kept pilfering Pennsylvania students into New York and into the other states. They sponsor it, yes. They would actually write the scholarship out, and the student then will internship with them in the summer. Which is the other thing I forgot to mention, all of our students do internships. And the reason that we have that done is because once they've interned in their area with an employer, usually they don't leave. Usually the employer is coming to them and saying, we want you to stay. The only thing I have is that when they're interning, I absolutely will not let a student leave first half of sophomore semester. And many, many, many of our students are looking at that paycheck and saying, I'm not going to come back for that last 8 weeks. And that kills me. So I make an agreement with every single employer. You may not take that student as a full-time employee until they've conferred that degree. So I know I have my 2-minute warning. I can take one more question, and then I know that you all have to go back to work, so I can send students to you. Is there a wrap-up question or anything I did not touch on that you would like an answer for? It has been an honor. Thank you. I would love to be out here sending students. All right, so we don't have a gold ruler to give you. Zoann is disappointed, but in honor of the program today, we had Zoann autograph a bookplate that is going to be placed in The One and Only Ivan by Catherine Applegate. And this is going to be donated today to the Salvation Army Early Education Center. And Michelle Baker, if you would like to come up and accept the book from Zoann, I would greatly appreciate it.
I love this idea.
Okay, next week's program will be back at the Country Club of York. Our speaker will